Thank you. Good evening, everybody. I want to welcome everybody. First of all, our friends and colleagues from Ukraine. I welcome them and I want to give them warmest regards from Georgian Parliament and Georgian people. And same warmest regards to everybody who came together this evening to talk about Ukraine and to find some recommendations, conclusions from different aspects of this very complex issue. And thank you everybody who organized this wonderful meeting. Yes, I come from Georgia, and probably during last few years, whenever term name Georgia is mentioned, most frequently Ukraine is mentioned there. And whenever Ukraine is mentioned, Georgia is mentioned there. And this is one more demonstration that our people, our nations, have so many commonality during our history and in these days. And we share positive things, greatest achievements, and most negative things also. We share the success we both achieved while negotiating and concluding the association agreement with the European Union, but we both failed to secure our country from foreign intervention, and we are under occupation until now as we sit here. And this commonality brings to very simple conclusion. We Georgians are very close to everything what bothers our Ukrainian friends, and we are ready to be together, to stand together. And I believe this is one huge conclusion. And the European Union, with the very interesting and important tool which was provided to our countries, the association agreement, provided very timely and very effective mechanism how to continue development, how to continue overcoming our problems. At the same time, I want to thank our friends from Poland, and not only from Poland, because the help of individual countries is so essential in this struggle, how to modernize our countries and how to reform our countries. And I want to join my colleague from Ukrainian Parliament when she mentioned that the European choice for our countries is not just rational choice. Therefore, association agreement is not just tool for modernization and reforms. Such tools could be used by any country around the world, even those who are located very far from Europe. They can learn from Europe and European countries how to build rule of law, justice, how to decentralize their countries, how to increase the standards of human rights. But for our cases, I believe for Georgians, and we see the same case for Ukraine, this is existential choice. Therefore, we are not only seeking for these right tools for developing our countries, but we want to take responsibility about future Europe as well, because we are coming back to the civilization to which we belonged, where mentality of our nation, our people belonged, but from which we were deprived for quite a number of years and decades. Therefore, when we are talking about Europe, we become emotional as well, because we are not just rational. And sometimes these emotions are not the good thing and good service for the need of modernization and reforms we so badly need. Therefore, I believe we need to concentrate on certain issues. And our view from Georgia suggests that our Ukrainian friends need to be concentrated on identifying right priorities. This is so essential. Otherwise, we could be lost in endless cycles of reforms, in the very long process of modernization. And without the complex and comprehensive plan, what we are doing, why we are doing, how we are sharing our scarce resources among the priorities is essential issue. Therefore, number one is the priorities. Modernization, we want to become closer to Europe, but for that we need to achieve European standards. And what are those most fundamental standards? We are focusing our energy, our resources, our time. Sometimes we see that our European friends tend to suggest and push not to the most fundamental standards, but to some newest standards for Europe. Therefore, we need to be careful. We need to go to basics, to fundamental issues. If we do not do great job and enough job for achieving rule of law system, establishing rule of law in our countries. All the talks about other things which should follow to the rule of law would be just waste of resources and time. Therefore, right choice and right packaging of priorities, what should come first, what should come second, what should come third, is so essential. I believe from our experience, the number one must be rule of law. Because without that, many efforts, many resources offered by our European friends as well will be wasted. Because without rule of law, there is no effective and efficient governance. And if there is no effective and efficient governance, then we will have just short-term achievements, not fundamental issues. We will not be building institutions. We could be strengthening strong individuals in those institutions who could achieve some immediate, short-term, very spectacular results. But as soon as those individuals for some reason leave those offices, we will see that there is an empty place. Therefore, institutional building, democratic institutions and rule of law is the fundamental which could lead us to other waves of the issues and problems. We went through many waves of reforms in Georgia as well. And unfortunately, we found that if these priorities are not observed, we are running in problems. Because sometimes doing business easily does not mean doing business on the right way. Sometimes rule of law does not mean that rules are justified and that they are fair. That's why these fundamentals must be observed. Another issue is about governance. After breakup of the Soviet Union, all the nations who struggled from those transitional period and we wanted to build new society, we started building our national statehood, looking to the examples of our own heroes. And unfortunately, many of our co-citizens had to sacrifice their lives in those days, some 25, 26, 27 years ago. And in such cases, heroes and heroism matter so much. But we need to realize that now we need more leaders, and we cannot rely no more on heroes. We need leadership, and we cannot rely on heroism. Because leaders and leadership means to be leaders and provide leadership on every day. We need people who lead the country and society, local communities and nations on the routine basis. And this is very important. And leaders, how they differ from heroes, because leaders may fail as well. Heroes never fail. And we need to make sure that our political elite is trying to be right leaders, not heroes. Because sometimes we, myself, I don't know, my colleagues in Georgia, probably in Ukraine as well, sometimes we are stepping that line and are entering in the role of heroes who are going to save our own nation. And even in the cases when this is the most sincere attempt to serve to your nation, the final outcome will be not productive. Because leaders need to come and go, and we need to be ready for that. Every single leader. Otherwise, we are building the society, we are building the system, which is paved with nice words like democratization, modernization, reforms. But in fact, this is not way to the reforms and democracy, but this is autobahn to authoritarianism. And that autobahn leads us to the point of departure in most fast way. Therefore, we need leaders, we need democracy, we need to make sure that political rights are first of all ensured, and there is no compromise in that. That now we treat our supporters differently than supporters of the others. This is Europe about, where people are treated equally despite their wrong political views, because we believe that the others who disagree, they are wrong. But the nations and states will become European nations and European states when the rights are observed when people are wrong. And when governments serve to all the people, even those who yesterday were doing horrible things to us. Or probably tomorrow, if they will come to power, they will again do horrible things. But now, until we are at the power and we are responsible, we need to observe rights of every single individual. Otherwise, again, we'll will be coming here sometimes after and talking again, another wave, another process of transition, and that's not going to be the way to Europe. I believe in this very important thing. The final point I want to make is the importance of the support from the outside, from people who went through some similar challenges. And first of all, our friends from Poland, from Czech Republic, from Baltic states and others, who shared our common history some decades ago, and now they are members, full-scale members of Europe. We need to feel their presence every day, and I want to thank them for that, but I believe more is necessary. Example, again, I want to echo the issue mentioned by a previous speaker about the sanctions. I remember what happened in Georgia in 2008, in August, and you remember as well. And I remember what was the initial reaction of the world on those events in Georgia. And I remember what were promises of the world, that how they would treat the aggressor and how they would not tolerate occupation, how they would force everybody to follow the international order and international law. But I remember also September 2014, Sochi Olympic Games, which we organized just 15 kilometers from that occupied territory. By that time, unfortunately, the world leaders, the world leading institutions have almost forgotten what happened in August 2008. Because nothing was left from the original promises, original ideas, how to continue this struggle. Nothing was left there. And some world leaders decided not to go to that Sochi Olympic opening ceremony, not because of occupation being just 10 kilometers from that point, but because of some other problems, violation of human rights, minority rights, and so on. All those things matter. But how we managed to come to that point. And since we managed all to come to that point, unfortunately things happened in Ukraine. I believe now this is so essential not to forget what happened in Ukraine, what is happening in Ukraine, and not to reward aggressors and occupants because of other seemingly good behaviors elsewhere. We need to encourage good behavior, but not on the expense of the people and countries like Georgia and Ukraine. Thank you.